Sweets for my sweet, sugar for my...
Next, it was the Searchers' turn to record, this time with Tony Hatch.
But I can remember going into the studios and we rehearsed the song, and I think we did it in 3 takes, all standing around one microphone. And I thought it wasn't perfect. But of course Tony Hatch, he's up in the box and he's saying, "That's it, boys, we've got one, we've got a master." You know, we're saying, "We can do a better one." No, that's it. That's good enough.
Again, it was a hit.
Darling, I would chase that bright star nightly and try to steal it from the sky. And I would bring sweets for my sweet, sugar for my honey. Your first sweet kiss thrilled me so.
Right down through the history of rock and roll, if you find a band that has a success with one record, you'll always find that the follow-up is very, very similar. So anyway, Tony said, "I've got this song, a friend of mine has written it for you, blah, blah, blah." Great. And we did it, Sugar and Spice, sure enough, back up to the top of the charts. We actually found out later that Tony Hatch had written the song himself.
Sugar and spice and all things nice. You know that little girl is mine.
With this newfound success, the Searchers' flamboyant drummer, Chris Curtis, began to see himself as group leader.
Chris was the showman out the band, and because of that, although we were all equal guys and we all loved the same music and all that, Chris then began to get a bit, well, it's my band, you know, so I tell everyone what to do. And I think that's what the start of the friction was. I walked in the studio, all set up, and he just walked up to me and said, "I don't want you to sing on this album, Tony. Your voice isn't good enough." Which, you know, I fell through the floor. I said, "What do you mean?" "Well, that's the polite version of what do you mean." He said, "No," he said, "No, Michael's going to do it. Mike's going to sing, take all the leads. You're just playing bass." I said, "Well, look, I've been lead singer on 2 albums, 2 number 1s. And then he says, "I don't like the way you're playing bass. I want you to do it this way." So I blew my top, you know, and I said, "Chris," I said, "what the FNL are you on about?" I said, "You're the drummer in the band." I said, "You don't lead it." I said, "Why don't you stick to your drums?"
Tony lost out in the battle with Chris and was kicked out of the band.
Your dreams of fame have all come true. Now I'm just a no one next to you.
I was expecting, stupidly like that, when the news broke that I was out the band, I'd have a flood of phone calls, like from Hollies or anyone who thought I could do a job for them. "Will you join us, you know, Foremost or Merseybeats or somebody?" But nothing came.
I wished him well, you know, I wished he would have made a big name. I mean, I didn't really want him to leave the band, but you get caught up in so many emotions in those circumstances.
Tony formed a band called The Vibrations, but even then couldn't escape his past in the Searchers.
My agent said, "No one's going to book you with that name. They've got to know it's you. You've got to use your name up front." I said, "Yeah, but I don't want to be." He said, "Well, you won't get any bookings if you don't." So it ended up as Tony Jackson and The Vibrations. But it was just going to be The Vibrations. But just to get the bookings, and so people could say, "Oh yeah, Tony Jackson Searchers, you know, X or whatever. We'll go and see him."
While Tony struggled with a solo